Welcome. Today we are diving into the epistemological foundations of computer science. We are not asking the engineering question of how to solve a problem, but the profound philosophical question of what can be solved and at what cost. This is a journey through asymptotic analysis, focusing on big omega, the notation that defines the absolute hard limits of reality.
Let's begin by establishing the nature of computational difficulty. Is hardness a limitation of our machines, or is it a property of the math itself?
In physics, a heavy rock has a specific mass. Lifting it requires a specific amount of energy, regardless of whether you use a crane or your bare hands. In computer science, problems have intrinsic hardness. Sorting a list or factoring a number requires a minimum number of operations. This is an objective fact, not a subjective limitation of our current computers.
It is crucial to distinguish between the complexity of an algorithm and the complexity of a problem. An algorithm provides an upper bound. It's a proof that we can solve something within a certain budget, typically expressed with big O. The problem complexity is a lower bound, expressed with big omega. It asserts that no algorithm, past, present, or future, can ever breach that floor. It is a universal conservation law of information.
Now, let's look at the mathematical tools we use to measure these boundaries, the algebra of cost functions.
This is the formal definition of big omega. Mathematically, it states that for sufficiently large inputs, the function f of n is bounded from below by a constant multiple of g of n. Epistemologically, this is the language of the realist. It defines the unavoidable costs. A common mistake is thinking big omega only applies to best-case scenarios. That is false. We can mathematically prove that the worst-case scenario of an algorithm has a big omega lower bound.
We have a family of notations. Big O defines the ceiling, the safety cap. Big omega defines the floor. When the ceiling and the floor meet, we have big theta, which represents a tight bound. We also have little o and little omega, which describes strict dominance, where one function grows strictly slower or faster than another, effectively vanishing or exploding in comparison as limits approach infinity.
The two giants of this field are the Turing machine and the random access machine, or RAM. The Turing machine is a theoretical tape reader. Moving memory takes time. The RAM model mimics modern computers, where accessing any memory address takes constant time. Interestingly, checking a palindrome is quadratic on a single-tape Turing machine due to the head moving back and forth, but becomes linear if we add multiple tapes or use a RAM. The specific model defined dictates the lower bound.
Proving a lower bound on a universal machine is incredibly hard because the machine can do anything. So researchers often use restricted models. For example, the decision tree model strips away all ability to do math or index memory, leaving only the ability to compare two numbers. This simplification allows us to prove absolute limits on sorting and searching.
How do we prove that something is impossible? We use destructive logic. Here are the primary techniques for proving big omega lower bounds.
The most famous proof is the information theoretic lower bound for sorting. There are n factorial possible ways to order a list. Each comparison gives us a yes or no answer, one bit of information. To distinguish between n factorial possibilities, you mathematically need log of n factorial bits. Using Stirling's approximation, this comes out to n log n. This proves that comparison-based sorting can never be faster than n log n.
Another powerful technique is the adversary argument. Imagine a game between an algorithm and a malicious demon. The demon doesn't pick an input beforehand, he makes it up as the algorithm asks questions, always giving the answer that keeps the problem alive the longest. If the demon can force the algorithm to ask 1,000,000 questions before getting a unique answer, we have proven a lower bound of 1,000,000.
Sometimes the bounds are trivial. If an algorithm depends on every bit of the input, it must take at least linear time just to read it. If a matrix multiplication produces n-squared outputs, it must take at least quadratic time just to write the answer. These are the absolute physical floors of computation.
Finally, we organize these problems into a hierarchy. This is the map of the computational universe.
We categorize problems into classes. P is the class of feasible problems, solvable in polynomial time. NP contains problems where we can verify a solution quickly. P space represents problems solvable with reasonable memory. Note that because memory is limited, these programs must eventually halt, meaning their time is bounded by an exponential limit, not infinite. Finally, EXP contains problems that are provably intractable.
The time hierarchy theorem is a rigorous proof that more time equals more power. It proves that there are problems solvable in n-cubed time that are impossible to solve in n-squared time. This creates an infinite ladder of complexity. No matter how much time you have, there is always a harder problem just out of reach.
In conclusion, big omega and lower bounds are not just pessimistic barriers, they are guiding lights. By proving exactly what cannot be done, they stop us from wasting effort on impossible goals and redirect human ingenuity towards approximations, heuristics, and randomized solutions. The negative result is the foundation of practical innovation.